Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. You may notice immediately this is something a little different right here, right? Today am going to be casting 3 replays from the new maps that SSSS is making. I love this name, SSSS, it's hard to say. I'm definitely going to make some more jokes about that as the video goes on. But this is about a week ago, I think. Tarnarmour and I, of course, are going to be a team for the upcoming 2v2 league, which still hasn't started yet, I suppose. We haven't been able to get a match organized yet, but we were playing online. We started playing on the new maps with our buddy Peter over here, against spawning over here in the, that's probably the east, I don't know. Is going to be Frosty Teeth. We know him from the Kara Cups, of course. Tomcat Zeno, our favorite blast drone rusher. And SSSS, the man himself, who almost certainly is going to go for some kind of base runner cheese. We always know he does. I shouldn't call it cheese, it's not really, but it's still pretty annoying to deal with. Now, one thing you'll notice, by the way, if I reset the camera, first off, it's facing directly north, but it's also much further away than normal. This is something weird about the new maps. I don't know. I feel like all of them are like this, but I might be wrong. But you see that because this map has quite a bit of fog in it, like you zoom out far enough, you might not even be able to see these guys at all. I think what might be happening here, there was a mod that was made a little while ago, the enhanced zoom mod, and that might just be like on by default in SSSS patch, which is kind of interesting. But it does mean that, you know, I can zoom out quite far away here. But that's kind of nice for this case, because it lets me kind of showcase the map a little bit. You may recognize this one, all of the new maps, of course, coming from the campaign at some point or other. And actually, I've just thought about it. In the campaign, you start here. But, like, how did you get there? There's no... Oh, from there, I guess? I don't really know. I'm kind of missing the action, too, but, you know, we'll get to that in a second. Point is, this is the map where the Sidim are over here, and, like, there's 2 Galzian cruisers attacking them, and you've got to kind of, like, help them out. Yeah, like, how are the Sidim supposed to have gotten there? There's, like, no entrance to this. They certainly didn't fit their carry up through this little thing right here. The heck? I don't know, I guess they didn't think through that part enough. Anyway, it's a very interesting map, it's a very big map. This is where the cruise missile is introduced, and it's fitting because, of course, the map is so big, it's very helpful. But the interesting features of this map, really, in 3v3, are that, as you can see, there's like 3 lanes, basically, but they all have like a point where you can get in between them, which is right in the middle here. You can see I could move across here, get to that middle part there, and then you can move across here and get onto that part right there. Or right here. So there's actually 2 entrances from the middle onto the right side, and then 1 entrance onto the left side. It's a little bit imbalanced just by nature, by the fact that right here we can move between each other's bases, although it does take some time to get around to this guy. But if you look on this side, there is no connection between the bases here, and so SSSS, he is stuck right here. He cannot move his carrier out unless he goes through this place right here, which seems a little unlikely, right? Tomcat Zeno, same deal. Frosty Teeth, same deal. So that's the setup right here. Now, Tomcat was getting involved in that little battle with SSSS. He's going to try to stop me with his base runner right here, but in reality, this is probably just to slow me down from attacking SSSS. As you may know, SSS... Oh, and here's Tomcat's production cruiser actually coming out with assault ships already, so he's going to do just fine against the Sandstorm aggression right here. Tarnarmour going for a bit of a gunship rush. But you may know SSSS for doing his classic carrier rush with just tons of base runners. That is indeed going to be the case right here. You can see he's already producing base runners, already moving out. Carrier power reserves have been researched, I think 2 of them. That's going to be freaking annoying to deal with, as usual. Tomcat's blast drone gets denied, but here he is with some assault ships right there. However, I know that SSSS is going to do a base runner rush, because everyone does, but also because we were just playing 2v2 with him before this game. I'm just going to dive on these assault ships to get the base runner real quickly. I don't even lose one, I don't think. But anyway, I'm going to be producing railguns, but this video should be informative for another reason, not just to show off the new mods, but also to point out if you're getting base runner rushed, like, yeah, you can handle it a bit better than we did, but I'll put it that way. You need to team up together, basically. The Sylvan are it's gonna be difficult for them to really help you out, but they can make a bunch of railguns, right? Put all the railguns here. If you get enough railguns, you can stop them, like, early on in the rush. If you get carrier power, you need to get carrier power, and you can see I'm not doing that just yet. So definitely this is not the right way to hold off a carrier rush, but you know, at least we'll know it's coming. As we are going to scout this right now. Meanwhile, they're really trying to double team me here. They really want to get me out of the game as fast as possible, but our buddy Peter here, true to his nature, he is actually attacking on 2 lanes as Peter, which is actually kind of crazy. I didn't notice this in game, but he's coming in with a whole bunch of assault ships on this side, a whole bunch of assault ships down through the middle into SSSS's base, which is excellent because he's the one who's going to be attacking me right here. Way to go, Peter. I love Peter, man. Peter's awesome. Frosty Teeth not going to be ready for this at all. Neither is SSSS, of course. He's left absolutely nothing back at home. This may delay his rush, or he may just choose to ignore it entirely. In this case, it looks like he's going to choose to ignore it. I'm getting Power Reserve 1. This is definitely too late right here, but you know. And Tarnarmour with 2 gunships out, but yeah, the gunships would actually be able to do a lot of damage to the economy of what's face Tomcat Xena right here. There's really nothing to hold them off, I'm sure you can see. Another tip for holding off the carrier rush, you do have to be attacking the base runners. You can see that's what I was doing right there. But yeah, this is going to be a tough battle for me, as there are assault ships moving in at the same time as this carrier. And you can see I'm really just kind of in flight mode at the moment. I know I'm going to be able to take out all of these assault ships, that's not a problem, but this carrier is going to be a really difficult follow-up to deal with. But immediately I'm moving my base away from here. Tarnarmour's going to show up with his gunship, it looks like. No, with the strike fighters. He seems to have thought better of that, and I would have too. I mean, gunship's not really going to be able to do too much right there. But yeah, all these assault ships are really not going to be able to do anything for Tomcat, and he's going to wish they were back at home, as there is... Oh no, okay, so unfortunately Peter's kind of moving back and forth, probably using like the control whole army command. But yeah, he's going to wish those assault ships were back at home to deal with Peter right here, but interestingly he's actually managing to repel him decently right there already. Peter going to send these gunships in to deal with that as well without hitting Frosty Teeth. So unfortunately his attack didn't seem to turn out as well as we were expecting. This is why this kind of rush works, by the way. As you can see, all these base runners using their heal at the same time, like, they know nothing is going to take damage in that area. And, whoa, look how much veterancy one gunship kill gives. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Anyway. Basically, moral of the story is nobody can do any damage to anything that is inside of these base runners. So my thought was, well, I can actually kill the base runners slowly if I just run on top of them here, and anytime he tries to heal, he's going to heal me too. That was my thought going into this right here. But pretty soon I decided, yeah, this isn't really going to work in my favor. I'm going to have to back away. See what's going on Peter's side of things. Looks like Tomcat going for interceptors. But Peter has cleaned up SSSS's economy quite nicely. And he's actually gotten into Tomcats as well. Now, the salvagers do have a place to run, but there will be assault ships waiting for them on that other side. Tomcat's production cruisers are starting to look a little bit out of place, and these air units from Tarnarmour are really doing quite a thing to them. Unfortunately, they are getting killed by base runners. We know base runners in vanilla do not really have very much anti-air, but if there's this many of them, it doesn't really matter. Production cruiser goes down from Tomcat. He's getting attacked back at home as well. Things really not looking particularly good for him, but the really hard hitter for this team has got to be SSSS. He's already got Power Reserve 5 launching that Galaxy nuke right now against me. And I've basically just been totally cleaned up right here, but I've successfully extracted my economy right here. They can start mining off of this base once Tarnarmour leaves it. So I'm not out of this game just yet, but things are obviously not looking very good for us at all right here. And now it's going to be Frosty Teeth coming with a bit of a backstab onto Peter, who has been kind of shut down over here. Did not see that many salvagers go down as I was expecting, but he has completely taken out SSSS's economy. These assault ships here are going to seek out this production cruiser. They do have the same speed, so this is not going to get out of there. It will go down as well. That is good for us. That's very good, you know. Without Peter, this game would have been over much faster, I think, because SSSS can make, you know, whatever he wants. Usually he'll follow this up with railguns and then be able to really take out carriers very quickly, but he can't do that in this case. He actually can't make anything. Look at the resources here. He has saved enough to make salvagers, But that's always a little bit dangerous when you're in this, and he's making them right now, as you can see. But it's always a little bit dangerous in this position. Oh, unfortunately, the protection cruiser was not followed. That really should have been hunted down by those assault ships, but that is alright. And now, unfortunately, Peter not really ready to deal with this, but Tarnarmour's going to cover his back. He's got some strike fighters launching in the area. You can see, in fact, he's got a gunship and 2 strike fighters with 3 more being produced. They're on the way now. And Peter should not take particularly many losses from this fight, I wouldn't expect. But the big problem really is SSSS looming up there on the high ground. How are we going to get rid of him? That's the question. These base runners deny any kind of air counterplay. The carrier is really heavily powered, and I would say at this point, like, if you let it get to this point, it's kind of too late, you know what I mean? Oh, and look at that, the interceptors from Tomcat showing up to kind of try to clean out the air units from Tarnarmour that are responding to this attack right here. That's actually quite nicely done right there. And we know interceptors are incredibly good at their role as an anti-air unit. You can see them taking out the strike fighter right there. Did not get back to base, and Tarnarmour's air force really gets cleaned up here, but he's got tons of railguns. This is really his major air force right here. Or this is his air force right here. This is his major army right here. That's what I was trying to say. That is going to make things difficult for SSSS, but we know with this base runner play here, what can commonly happen is that this carrier can tank up tons of hits, just run back to the base runners, heal everything back up. And because with 5 power and range, it has about the range of these railguns, it doesn't really even take any damage that way. Or sorry, it can take out the railguns, and it doesn't really take any damage by going back to the base runners and healing up. And so you're able to, like, you know, take out your opponent's railguns and not really lose anything in return. You can see range powered up all the way. He's hitting my economy from the high ground. Kind of ridiculous, but that's what range will do in a carrier for you. Oh, I love the sound of Sylvan railguns from far away. Or from close up. Really, they just sound cool. Super cool. Anyway, another pro to the base runner rush strategy is you get to put down tons of scanners, don't you? Peter and Frosty Teeth, meanwhile, still kind of battling it out over here. Looks like he's transitioning into just kind of sand skimmers in general here. But Frosty Teeth's got a good army to deal with it. His army is actually surprisingly small based on the fact that he hasn't really been attacked very much in this game. But he does have the right army to deal with this, and so he will be able to push back on Tomcat quite well, or on Peter quite well. And actually we see a Gaussian missile barrage coming out at Peter over on this side right here. But it's going to be fine. No salvager's going to get taken out, I wouldn't expect. So Tarnarmour and I are going to try to make a little push on SSSS right here, try to get him off of his economy. You can see I've gotten up to power reserve 4. Tarnarmour has not, of course. It wouldn't really make much sense for him to. I mean, he's Soban. Not really going to be able to do too much just with those armed logistics modules. That's basically all his carrier power is worth. Taking out all these scanners that have been set up. We're beginning to push very slowly up across this hill. That means I'm back on my base, which is nice. That was, of course, denied by SSSS's carrier over here. Tomcat, meanwhile, he has got a number of interceptors, as you can see. And there is actually a real risk here that we could get carrier sniped. Now, Tarnarmour has got support cruiser anti-air, which is good. But when Tomcat comes to town, you know, we better be ready. And in this case, you can see my carrier is straying a little far away. This is a bit risky here, of course, because if there is something that can take out my carrier, I'm not with my ally. I could basically just get killed right there. And I recognize that. I'm going to pull away, and it's a good thing I do because there's this on the field, you know what I mean? And they could really hit a number on us. Looks like he's not interested in us, though. Instead, where is he going to go? Looks like it's at Peter. And yeah, you can see the danger of having no anti-air when you're playing with Tomcat. Suddenly you go up, boom, he's out. And there goes Peter. So that's a real hit to us. You know, we don't have an ally anymore. So we know that Peter's carrier has been taken out, but there's nothing we can really do about that. We just need to see if we can push and maybe take out SSSS right here. His slower units kind of falling further and further behind. Maybe there's a chance that we can take these on. That's kind of the thought here. But we don't want to stray too far away from each other because of all those air units. Meanwhile, Tomcat just sending a little squadron of assault ships over here to absolutely wreck everything. As you can see, there's no protection in this area. Perhaps he can accuse us of some one-dimensional thinking right here, but you know, the game was pretty much over at that point anyway, so it's not so bad, I suppose. Also, the music for this map is awesome. In case you were wondering, the music for the map is based on what the music is in the campaign. So in this case, it's the one, I think it's probably called like the Sidim are under attack. They have like the most creative names, don't they? The soundtrack for this game. But yeah, it's a really nice soundtrack. We get to hear it every time we play on this map. So I'm seeing these assault ships here. I'm going to try to move away, but nothing really I can do there. Production cruiser is going to go down. Excellent Galaxy missile barrage going to land right here on top of all of the railguns. But there's quite a lot of healing in the area. Maybe they'll be able to keep them alive. That's the hope anyway. But Tarnarmour is taking losses as he pushes through here. Is that a gunship for Frosty Teeth this late in the game? It's kind of interesting. Works though. I mean, if all your opponent's ever going to do is make sand skimmers, you know, gunship's a good choice. Anyway, base runners are beginning to get killed here, and if we can take SSSS's economy off, maybe there's a chance that we can kill him. That's kind of the thought here. Galzian carriers, of course, notoriously slippery. They're like slipperier than... How do you say that? They're more slippery than soap, so it's really difficult to get rid of them. Tomcat here is fielding, of course, his very impressive number of interceptors. He's going to want to find a target here, but there are 8 support cruisers, all with their anti-air online, so that's not really going to happen, I don't think. He is finding some good damage on my carrier right here, but I can retreat back. I'm getting actually healed by support cruisers, as well as using the Galzian self-healing, so I'm never going to take any damage, really. And those interceptors taking a loss every time they try to come in there. SSSS can evacuate his economy outside into Tomcat's base here, but his carrier is really kind of trapped right there. Power Reserve 5 going to finish for me pretty soon, and I will have access as well to that missile barrage. And as you can see, like I was saying, my carrier already back at full health. Frosty Teeth beginning to close in on Peter. Kind of go in for the final kill. My last base really in danger right here. Tomcat moving up through the middle. It looks like this team is basically just closing things off. Not really going to be anything that we can do to deal with this. But we may be able to kill SSSS, which would be kind of nice, you know, a compensation for the ridiculousness that we've just been put through. So that is the goal of Tarnarmour and I. You can see Tarnarmour still does not have the microwave emitter research. That would be really helpful here. But unfortunately that has not been done. But the hope is, with only 4 railguns, Galzian carrier, and a Sauvon carrier, we can try to take out... Oh, he's got... Okay, so he's got 2 assault cruisers as well. The hope is that we can take out this Galzian carrier. Space Runners are using their heal right here, which I think is kind of interesting. So here comes the push from SSSS to try and get through us. The assault cruisers ought to be using their tactical missile ability right here, but you can see that they're not. This is a bit of a mistake because that dumps a lot of damage really quickly. And SSSS just gonna slide through there. cruise missile from the Soban player coming in now. Just to add insult to injury, and SSSS will escape here. And I can give chase, of course, with my Galzian carrier, but I won't be able to do that in this case, even though he has less health, because if I stray away from these support cruisers, we're going to get slaughtered by interceptors. So SSSS going to escape, although all of his base runners will fall. And you can guess how tilted we were feeling at this point. And from this point, the game is really a wash. I think we can fast forward through this part. Whoa, well, not in a way that's going to drop our frame rate to like 0. Let's see, how can we do this? Oh dear. Okay, let's not fast forward then. Apparently that's not working very well. But you can see that the base is getting taken out over here. SSSS has a refuge, and he actually managed to escape his support cruisers as well. Or protection cruisers as well. Peter finally getting cleaned up on the map. That is going to be game, essentially. Tarnarmour and I, then, are just going to try to hold out for as long as we can, as is a long-standing tradition in RTS. If you can't win, just make it as annoying for your opponents as you possibly can. And by the way, no game is better for that than Homeworld. I mean, you know, with like hyper-spacing around, trying... Whoa, look at that. Okay, do you see that cliff over there? Some of it like comes into view as I like turn the camera here. It's like a max render distance apparently. Right, well, like I was saying, it's a long-standing RTS tradition that if you can't win, you just try to make it as annoying for your opponents as possible. And so that's basically the idea here as Tarnarmour and I set up some more bases here, get mining, prepare for the long haul. I was hoping at this point there was still some economy down here, so that's why I'm moving my carrier out with the range systems on full, but there's nothing over there, so nothing I'm going to find. This is Peter's last unit. This is his last unit. But it is not going to last for long. Actually, no, that's Tarnarmour's. Yeah, I think this is indeed his last unit, but it gets wrecked. That is the end of Peter. He is well and truly out of this game. And SSSS going to come back in for the crushing blow, it seems. Frosty Teeth just really enjoying complete dominance of this lane here. I mean, he's got nothing to worry about. He's even mining off at this location. Cheeky little guy. Microwave emitter gets thrown down on the eco. Actually manages to take out 2 salvagers, but that's not a huge deal. Those will heal up very quickly. But my carrier a little bit out of position here, as you can see. Play this at normal speed here. These interceptors, why are they running all the way over here? I feel like he could have actually just killed me right there, but whatever. SSSS coming in here now. My carrier is so low that there's a good chance he'll be able to kill me off entirely. So I'm going to have to abandon this position here, unfortunately, because there's a lot of healing right there. Actually, I'm going to decide the healing is worth it, so I'm going to go back in there. And I think this is true, you know. I think, like, he's got his mass base runner joke right there, but, like, I have so many support cruisers right here, there's no way I'm ever going to actually take any significant amount of damage. But here comes another microwave emitter. Those things recharge unreasonably fast, of course. My carrier sliding off the edge of the canyon right here. I thought this was pretty funny when it happened in game. And SSSS, of course, just for you to power up the speed and drive away, and that's really the strength of a Galzian carrier in the late game. And of course, if we don't finish the game in 3 minutes, we're going to lose anyway. So they're also winning by that metric. So we're just going to charge in there and see if we can at least do some damage to him. But it's looking very unlikely, of course, at this point. And in typical fashion, the Soban carrier doing basically no damage at all, because that's what it does. Another missile barrage landing on the eco, as if that really mattered. SSSS will escape again. And although they're definitely going to win on artifacts here, it still is interesting that they really can't seem to finish us off here. I find that amusing. Oh, you know, as I say that, actually, Tarnarmour's carry... No, he GG'd out of the game, right? They didn't actually kill him there. And I'm going to follow suit. I'll just give up right there. We know it's over. No reason to fall. Just, you know, keep playing right until the very end. We figure our chances are better in a rematch scenario. So, lessons to be learned from this. The SSSS build of just mass base runner carrier rush, it actually does work. It's kind of a silly thing, but in 3v3 you can often get away with this. You need to, you know, scout this early and find a proper counter to it. So coming into the rematch here, again on the same map, the Whispering Galley, I chose to play as Coalition because my thought was, okay, if I just fire a cruise missile... Oh, and it's also important to note, by the way, Frosty Teeth and Peter have switched sides right here. Traitor! But yeah, I'm thinking if I can just launch a cruise missile at those base runners and destroy them all, what does it even matter how many of them there are? Also, I can just mass base runners as Coalition. I can just mass railguns, I can go for carry power, I can go for battle cruisers. I have a lot more options to deal with this as Coalition. Tarnarmour's still playing as random. I tried to convince him to play as Coalition so we could just do like a cruise missile dump, but he didn't want to do it. What did he roll though? I can't actually quite remember. He rolled Conf, okay. So he's going to be spawning in the place where I spawned last time, up on the high ground right there. I'm going to be in the middle, and then Frosty Teeth, who rolled Galzian, is going to be up here on the top. So Frosty Teeth's competition then is going to be Tomcat Zeno, who is spawning up on that top lane. SSSS going to be on the low ground spawn, and Peter going to be on the southernmost high ground. He's also playing as Conf, so 2 Conf, 1 Galzian against 1 Coalition, 1 Galzian, 1 Conf. We really want to know where these people are. So I'm going to send my probe out right at the beginning of the game, try and figure out what position each player is in. And like I said earlier, my plan here is essentially like, okay, I'm just going to go for a carrier rush strategy of my own to counter this. I'm going to go for very high power reserves, lots of railguns. Basically just try to win the field that way. Because I know that if my opponent shows up with... First off, if my opponent is doing a base runner rush, he's not going to attack me in the early game. I also know that if he shows up with his base runner rush and I have a stronger carrier and railguns and anything else, you know, etc., I'm definitely going to be able to win that fight. And so we see, okay, it's Peter right here, it's SSS right here, which made me very happy, because that, of course, is the one that I'm going to be fighting with, and it is therefore got to be Tomcat up on the top. Good movement with his base runner here, not sure if that was intentional or not, but it is going to catch the probe out and snipe that one, so the probe goes down. But what I was really worried about was that Peter was going to be on my side, because we know Peter, of course, going to do his production cruiser rush. What else would he do? And we weren't interested in getting, you know, beaten that early on, obviously, so I would have had to make, you know, some kind of army and whatever to stop the assault ship rush, and then SSSS's rush will arrive before I'm ready. So, you know, I needed somebody else to basically be the one who's going to hold that. But I can see from this position that SSSS is in my lane, so I'm going to be the one who deals with him. That made me very happy indeed. Just building up economy, going for a bit of a macro style right here. I never trust myself to really get like the carrier orientation stuff properly, so I'm just leaving it exactly how it spawned in. Call it lazy if you will, but you know, I call it safe. Yeah, Power Reserve 1 already on the way for me. And I believe that'll be done before SSSS gets it. Indeed it is. And I've got the bright idea, hey, I can put a turret down on the artifact spawning location to try and stop them from extracting ever. That'll be pretty fun. This base runner from SSSS is going to try to extract this artifact. It's got quite a distance to go, but it should make it. Nothing really there to stop it. So Team 2 should be able to get 2 extractions right off the bat here. Hopefully Frosty Teeth can get one of his own though. And I thought this was kind of interesting in game, but look at this base that Frosty Teeth is setting up. Like, here? I mean, I don't know. It seemed a little odd to me. But, you know, that's what he's doing. And these salvagers from Tomcat gonna get here and be like, hey, this is our place, don't you know? One blast drone from Tomcat was out already. Of course it was, because, you know, it's Tomcat. That's what he likes to do. But he's going to be like, what the heck are you doing there? And just kind of try to move in and take this production cruiser off. Of course, this should have been the place where Frosty Teeth was mining. But doesn't that bring up like an interesting idea, you know, kind of on the topic of new maps here? Like, what if, you know, each player had 2 or 3 bases, probably 3 would be better, but then there was like a 4th base in the middle of the map that both players could get to, but about the same time. So it's like a contested 4th area. Wouldn't that be cool? And I had the idea, you know, like what if, I mean, RUs are obviously a little bit more important there. This Blastron's going to die, isn't it? Yep. I think I talked about that in another video of mine. Actually, the video of Tarnarmour with Catharsis. But yeah, the Blastrones like to get themselves killed that way. But anyway, what if there was a 4th base location that had like, you know how the main base has 2 CUs and 1 RUs? What if there was one that had like 2 RUs and 1 CU deposit? But it was contested, you know, both players would get to it at about the same time. It was not like, not anyone's base, you know, you had to really like fight for it. I think that'd be super cool, don't you? That's what I want to add in like one of these maps, but I am but a noob. I have not figured out how to get it working yet, so. I've been trying to work on the Torin Crater map, but with, you know, mixed results. Anyway, I will talk about what's going on in the game though. I was actually a little bit upset during this game because, as you will see, SSSS does not do his base runner rush, and I really wanted him to because I wanted to beat it. So I was kind of annoyed when that didn't end up happening. But I mean, you can tell he's not doing it already because he isn't spamming base runners. He isn't getting like super big power reserves. And actually, I'm not really sure what he goes for in this game. It seemed really odd to me. Peter's initial assault ship rush going to be repelled by Tarnarmour here, and in case you're wondering how to do that, behold, you know, this is how to do that. He's got railguns, he's got his carrier active in the game. He's certainly not going to get, you know, beaten by this at all. I'm also going to move up here just to support him a little bit. Meanwhile, Frosty Teeth going for a bit of an attack on Tomcat here, but same deal. That assault ship going to get shut down right there. Production cruiser going to get forced back, and he was indeed forced off of this 3rd base. He can, of course, simply go here and begin mining, but I don't know. I mean, hopefully he will. As you can see, SSSS beginning to make some air units now, and that is indeed his kind of, you know, tech of choice in this game. Tarnarmour kind of getting overrun by sand skimmers here, but there's a Blastron! Whoa, look at that damage! So that's not really going to be an issue for him. I love and hate Blastrones at the same time, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, there are some assault ships coming around through the back line here from Peter. This is a really smart play, I think, because, you know, you don't have vision of this if you're just mining off of your main. But we have got some railguns in the area. This shouldn't, you know, take us, catch us too off guard. Power reserve 4 finishing for me, meanwhile. And this turret in this position right here will make these 2 artifacts basically unavailable to the red team. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups here. Salvagers are getting taken out over on this side right here. I'd love to smoke those out, but I'm just not close enough. I do smoke out my railgun, which is a nice touch, of course. Not sure what I was getting at with this smoke right here, but whatever, it doesn't really matter too much. Those assault ships are going to get taken out. Tarnarmour took about 4 salvagers lost then to this rush in total, but it was a nice move by Peter because if he hadn't gone out on this side, Tarnarmour probably wouldn't have taken any damage at all, actually. He basically, up until then, had held it off perfectly. Frosty Teeth still kind of trying to engage Tomcat from this position. Oh, excellent shot right there. Tomcat is really good with Conaf. Like, he plays them so much, he knows exactly what to do, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, 3rd support cruiser coming out for me just now, and that means I will be free to move off and begin my push down the middle. And honestly, I was expecting to get rushed by this point. Like, this was kind of when I was getting annoyed. I was like, SSSS, what the heck? You're not going to do the rush now? Obviously, I wasn't actually that annoyed, but because, you know, I kind of enjoyed not getting rushed that way. But I did really want to beat it, you know. I wanted to say, like, hey, look, we're better than this, but that's just my ego getting in the way, I suppose. These sand skimmers is running through to their deaths. This is very unfortunate right here. I think 4 of them have died now. And a 5th takes serious damage before getting past, so that wasn't good. Red team really trying to put on some artifact pressure here, but this base runner is going to get shut down by these railguns. Oh, and look at the cruise missile on the sand skimmers there. That was actually pretty big. That extraction will get shut down right there, and we have AAVs in the hood, so no railguns are going to go down here either. Although this heavy railgun kind of getting out of position, but that's alright. Tarnarmour looking like he has a very strong hold on this flank of the map. Meanwhile, Frosty Teeth and Tomcat still kind of fighting it out, but no one has kind of emerged as the victor just yet. And you notice we're all going for anti-air right here. I've got the anti-air turret. Tarnarmour's not, I suppose, but you know, Frosty Teeth already getting like the missile ships. And I'm getting Sport Cruiser anti-air at the moment just because we know, like, someone's got to be going air, you know? Like, if you don't see anyone attacking you that early on in the game, someone's going for air. You know it's the case. SSSS, meanwhile, is going for air. As you can see, he's already got 9 interceptors. He's going for some more as well. But I'm going to have definitely sufficient anti-air by my carrier at this point. So I'm not going to be worried about that. And my carrier is powered up quite a lot. It's already got the cruise missile ready. Sport Cruiser anti-air finishing just about now, which is pretty good timing because the air units are just now, you know, in the air. And unfortunately, they are going to catch us out in a big way right here. Tarnarmour going to take a lot of damage to his army right here. And that means Peter maybe is going to have a chance to fight back, but knowing that SSSS has invested all of his money, all of his time basically into air units means I've got no competition at all. So I'm just going to run in here with my carrier, which is insanely powered up. All of my railguns that I've produced. Sport Cruiser anti-air already finished. As you can see, it's going to claim the life of a couple of interceptors right there. And I should really just be able to bully SSSS way back into the back of the map and take him out. Of course, this is why I was saying this map is a little bit imbalanced, of course. I just said of course twice. Because SSSS can't run away here. There's nowhere to run. Whereas if he was on our side of the map, he would be able to run to somebody else's base and kind of seek shelter from them, but not the case right here. Meanwhile, Peter going to try to support his teammate with some sand scammers, but that's not going to go very well. My carrier, of course, very well powered up, going to be able to hold those off. Missile ships are finished for Tarnarmour now. If there's a good missile barrage here. Actually, that was pretty good, but the missile ship went down a little too quickly, unfortunately. I've got some AAVs here to deal with this, but Tarnarmour having some trouble pushing here by the fact that all of his units are being produced on the backfield over there. Look at this, one singular sand skimmer taking on this support cruiser. That's a good play, actually. That's a really good play. But it looks like Tomcat beginning to arise the victor on his side of the map, as he is pushing Frosty Teeth further and further back. And he's got 3 siege cruisers now in the area. But I've already kind of slipped past his field of control. Look at me just now getting the mag accelerator upgraded. But anyway, you know, we don't need to worry about Tomcat as far as like the middle of the map goes, because I'm already in this position here. I'm not assailable by air units. Really not feeling vulnerable at all, actually. It's possible, you know, a whole bunch of railguns could get produced by these production cruisers and kind of try to get the high ground on me right there. But I'm really not expecting that to happen. And so SSSS's reign of terror should be coming to a close pretty soon here, as I'm just going to box him into his area of the map. Lots of railguns on the field right now. Very, very heavily powered carrier. Cruise missile is also ready. This sand skimmer, meanwhile, still doing its thing. Look, it's gotten the support cruiser down to like half health now. Single-handedly, I'd like to add. It's not being microed at all. Maybe I could actually cruise missile it. I don't know. But that is super annoying. So, like I said, it's a good play. This base runner here probably kind of wishing he wasn't there. He's in a bit of a tough spot now. But here comes my carrier into the area. Tomcat has got a lot of sand skimmers, but he recognizes he cannot push in here. There's too much power in this carrier. And SSSS, unfortunately, is going to meet basically the end of his life right here. He's got a whole bunch of sand skimmers himself, but yeah, I think I've already talked about this. Battle cruisers also on the way for me. And perhaps these players are thinking if they come in at the same time with these sand skimmers, they can attack. But this is like the movie Gallipoli, you know what I mean? They're just like 5 seconds off, right? Too soon? I don't know. A lot of railgun kills are going to get scored here by these sand skimmers, but they are all going to go down. Air units also trying to get involved into the mix, but they're just going to get wrecked by these support cruisers. Now there is the chance that if the red team can clear out the anti-air, they could do some damage with their interceptor force here, but not in that way. As you can see, they already basically used all of them up there, fighting the support cruisers that were there already, so even if they launched all of the anti-air now, it wouldn't be enough. And Frosty Teeth is coming in with interceptors of his own to contribute to this fight, which is awesome. Power Reserve 6 just now finishing for me. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not safe. Anyway, so I can now power up my carrier a bit more even. The carrier does a sick dodge of the cruise missile by flying up into the air. That doesn't count, of course, unfortunately. SSSS going to try to make a dashing escape through the middle here. But with a battle cruiser attacking his carrier, my carrier focusing fire on him, he probably will not make it out of this choke point. And indeed, that will be the case. An artifact went down for our team. Not sure how that went down, actually, because I feel like Tomcat has pretty good field control over here, but that was indeed scored. And look, my base runner is still alive. I can't believe it. But that sand skimmer has killed a support cruiser single-handedly, just using the hold ground position. Like, wow. Ian! Hey! It's BBI Ian, guys! Well, he definitely knows how to play this game. Right, well, the red team will still be reeling after the loss of their beloved leader, SSSS. And there is still a battle cruiser pushing in here on Tomcat's position. A bunch of heavy railguns following as well from Tarnarmour. Carriers kind of exchanging missiles there, but Tarnarmour missing by a narrow margin right there. A whole bunch of assault railguns actually in this area. Assault railguns are a bit more effective against Conf carriers than they are against other carriers, but still, you know, definitely not what you would want for this, but that is where their home is, taking out these production cruisers. A battle cruiser is coming up as well along this side here. We should be able to make pretty quick work of... No, this is not Tomcat, this is Peter, I'm sorry. We should be able to make pretty good work of Peter. Tomcat, meanwhile, will be a little bit more of a difficult foe. You can see he's got quite a lot of stuff on the field. A whole bunch of sand skimmers right here, 3 siege cruisers, no, 5 siege cruisers, my goodness. A whole bunch of assault ships, he's got anti-air. Frosty Teeth, meanwhile, has basically been in a 1v1 with him, and there hasn't really been any, you know, conclusion to this battle right here. But Peter's carrier has gone down there. Sorry, I totally missed that. Following should be all of these sand skimmers, the last kind of stuff that's on the field for SSSS as well. And that is relevant, by the way, because we know the Galzian player can continue to produce units even when his carrier has been killed. So it is important that we finish him off here. Good barrage by those siege cruisers. Takes out a whole bunch of units over here. Tomcat really biding his time until he can find, you know, an air opening where he'll be able to attack. But you can see now we're basically dealing with this as like sort of a done game already, if you know what I mean. I'm just producing streams of railguns to come over to this area. Just because, you know, we figure we can just kind of throw all of our units over there and win. Honestly, that's not really the best idea, but in-game, I was seriously thinking this was Peter. So that's like my excuse for why I'm attacking this way. It wasn't until like around this point that I realized, oh hey, that's actually Tomcat, isn't it? But yeah. Tomcat's the kind of guy you can't just throw your army at him, you know what I mean? He actually is very good at coming back. He's kind of like the comeback king in that regard. You can see, by the way, I'm just leaving this battle cruiser right here. The idea is that, you know, if the production cruisers try to leave, they can't get around him, so they'll just die. So I've got them contained, they can't get any more resources or anything. I'm going to fire a cruise missile in on this area right here. It's going to bring these siege cruisers to very, very low health, but not quite kill any of them. There's some siege of Frosty Teeths, but it's going to barrage over here, which is a little suspect. If it had barraged right there, probably 2 of the siege cruisers would have gone down. That would have been much better, but that's alright. A whole bunch of interceptors are going to come find it, do a whole lot of damage, and actually Frosty Teeth now looking like he's in quite a lot of danger, as all he's really got left is his carrier. The engagements really did not go in his favor in that side. My carrier going to swing around over here, and my carrier is my main weapon, so that's kind of the downside of this tactic, I suppose. I'm not really going to be able to, how do you say it? I'm not going to be able to use my main weapon, basically, against Tomcat until it gets all the way around this corner over here. A whole bunch of railguns and assault railguns, however, finding Tomcat's backline over here. And we will take this out very, very quickly. Tomcat just, unable to fight a battle on 3 fronts, but I mean, who can blame him, really? I say 3 fronts, it's really 2, but it's, he can't fight a 1 on 3 is what I'm trying to say there. We have got 2 artifacts picked up, and so Tomcat can't give up control of this area of the map either. That would also be game. Frosty Thief's going to power up the speed on his carrier and try to get out of there, but I mean, where's he going to go? He is kind of trapped. Once he gets to this area, it will be game over for him. And actually, maybe he won't even make it that far. These siege crews is doing, making quick work of his carrier. And Frosty Thief is going to go down. This Con-F carrier very, very slowly making its way over, as it does. They're Con-F, they don't really know how to move fast. But at this point I decided, okay, well, if Frosty Teeth has gone down already, we kind of need to start thinking about this a little bit more seriously. So I'm going to move my carrier back, wait until I can get kind of a big force up over here, and not just move my carrier out alone. That's basically the only way that we could possibly lose this game, so no reason to let that happen. This army over here has got sufficient anti-air. Well, maybe not sufficient base. No, he's only got 5. So yeah, that's good enough anti-air right there. Another cruise missile going to come down from me. Not really sure why I used this at this particular moment. Probably would have been better to wait, because obviously I can't really get any kills just yet, but, base runner gets taken out by the red team. Actually, I did not see that. I did not see where that happened. But apparently it did. Oh dear, the missile barrage could be insane right here. Tell me he uses it. Tarnarmour, please! He kind of blows himself up with it, but that could have been insane right there. Looks like the production cruiser is trying to get away there. SSSS has already went down, or maybe he just left the game. Peters found it, could not push out. But look how many sand skimmers he's produced over here. This is actually quite relevant, I feel. Oh, look at this anti-air squad. What the heck? This is like in the campaign when they have all these anti-air units. Just why are they all together, you know what I mean? But, oh my goodness. Well, let me tell you, if siege cruisers attack this group here, they will actually die, because that barrage is like the siege cruisers attack, but actually a little bit better. It's just that it has a cooldown. But dang, this would take out siege cruisers. So this could almost take out a carrier. This will probably bring Tomcat's carrier to about half health. That's crazy. Whole bunch of siege coming down on my carrier right here, but it's not going to be able to kill it, so I'm not really too concerned with that. What's more concerning is the fact that Tomcat, very good at firing his cruise missiles here. He knows what he's doing. He's getting excellent hits on these railguns. You can see them landing down right there. Frosty Teeth actually still contributing to this fight with some heavy railguns up on his side. Tarnarmour has got all of his assault railguns coming in for vision to spot for the other railguns, and at that point Tomcat decides he can't win anymore. He's just going to GG out of the game. There is actually a cruise missile coming in, so that was going to be the game anyway, but yeah, he does leave before the cruise missile hits. Who can blame him? What is more tilting than getting killed by a cruise missile, am I right? I should know about that. But yeah, so we were feeling good about this one, haha. Still though, I was kind of annoyed that SSSS didn't pull his base runner rush, so I thought, okay, I guess he's not going to do the base runner rush anymore. Maybe in game 3 I don't really need to try to respond in any particular way, I can just play normally. But as you'll see, this was not true. The third map that we play on here is going to be also one of the new maps. It's going to be Kashad Approach. This is the one where you come up onto the plateau, your how do you say? The landers coming into land here need to take the plateau before they get here. This is a really fun map from the campaign. And a lot of people playing random, well, two anyway. Tarnarmour and Frosty Teeth playing random here. Peter is Conef, Tomcat is Conef, SSSS and I is Galzian. And actually, as luck would have it, all the people who rolled random also ended up as Galzian. So, screw Northerners, right? This is a very interesting map. We discovered pretty early on that the artifacts weren't working for some reason, so even though they do spawn, you can't actually score them. That's not a thing about this map, it was just that I think the problem was that we had flipped it to an FFA real quickly, then flipped it back, and then we forgot to turn back on the artifacts. But these custom maps, they will actually still have artifact spawns even if you have the artifacts turned off. It's kind of interesting, it's just that you can't score any of them. One interesting feature of this map is that this whole area over here exists, but there's no reason to go there and there's nothing there, so... Whoa. Sorry for the nasal sounds going on over there. Anyway, I don't know, I didn't really feel particularly happy about like these games because of the whole base runner rush thing. Like, to be honest, I was a little tilted at the end of it because I love playing Galzian. Playing Galzian is a lot of fun, but if he's going to do his base runner rush, I want to be coalition every time. And I really just don't feel confident like responding to it as the Galzian player. You can see in this case, I knew he was going to do it, so I go for power reserves very early. I try to just counter it that way, but that's not even really going to work for me. So I wasn't particularly happy with that. I kind of wished he would just play it normal, but at the same time, you know, I'm very dedicated to the idea that there is no such thing as like a viable strategy that shouldn't be used. So I can't really say that. You know what I mean? I have to allow this type of stuff. It's a matter of principle. Three blast drones out already for Tomcat, and a fourth one gonna go flying into the air right there. 4 blast drones is enough to take out the main of 2 players, not just one. And so we are all kind of in danger at this moment. One of them gonna get taken out though, so that's always good for us. Peter kind of trying to get his salvagers out of the way, it looks like, but he's sort of accidentally blobbed them all up here. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Da-da. Da-da. Oh, look at that. Actually, only 2 of them went down there. So that's kind of surprising, but if another blast drone had been on the way and popped right there, that would have been the end of them anyway. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. You can see I pick up the artifact and I try my best to score it, but it does not work. Tomcat popping smoke right there. Doing some interesting maneuvering there. I'm not really totally sure why. Listen to that noise. I love that noise, don't you? It's like the noise of base runners getting shot at by sand skimmers early in the game. Anyhow, this is a very interesting map, and I wish the artifacts had been working on it, but what you'll see is that in order to get like the artifacts out, and by the way, I'm doing some early aggression over here on SSSS, and it's working fairly well. In order to get the artifacts out, you basically just need to get control of this south lane here. But if you have control of the middle one, then you can get 2 artifacts out at the same time. If you have control of the top one, you can get 3 out, but you need control of the bottom here. So if you could choose like the position of your players, you'd want the best players to be on the end right here. But of course, you can't actually choose that. But this is definitely the most important area of the map. This area right here. It's also the hardest to hold though, of course, because you get high ground as you attack down onto it. So it's a very interesting map. Yeah, you can see this base runner here in the extraction zone, but not able to extract. But yeah, I haven't played many actual 3v3s on it, you know, where the artifacts are actually working, where people aren't, you know, base runner rushing. But from what I hear, it's a very frantic map. It's a very, you know, very action-packed map. Siege is obviously like incredibly good on this one because of, you know, how small all of like the dividers are here. Siege can attack like up the hill, down the hill, whatever it wants. Sounds like a really fun map. I've gone for railgun fabrication. I'm going to be making railguns. I'm going to be getting power reserves. This should be the right response to it, but it seems it's just a little bit too slow. As you can see, SSS already moving out across the map. We do have identical power reserves at the moment, but that's not going to last very long, obviously. And if I had gotten an artifact scored here, that would have been pretty nice as well. I was kind of hoping that that would happen, because that would mean, you know, our power reserves would have been imbalanced, actually. I would have had more. But unfortunately, that's not the case, as we know. Meanwhile, Tomcat is already making siege cruisers. I happened to notice that. And he gets away with this, by the way, in case anyone's wondering, just by not making a single unit. That's actually what SSSS does as well. I'd say there's a real susceptibility of both of these players just getting rushed. And really, we should have done that. My thought was kind of like, how can I defend against the rush strategy, you know? But maybe it would have been better to just try to, you know, counterattack in over here. In over here. There's nothing, you know, absolutely nothing to defend these places. Now that the siege cruisers come out, there is that. But before that, there was absolutely nothing to actually defend this side of the map. So that's probably the answer to my question of how am I supposed to deal with all of this trash. But you can see it's not the one that I came to here. However, I am on top of his carrier, or his base runners right now. I am taking advantage of the healing instead of him. I always think this is pretty funny. And you know, I really felt like this was the right response to this attack that he's putting on. Probably at this point when we've traded positions, I should just run over here. But instead I kind of, you know, I try to keep fighting it. And it's actually kind of depressing to watch. So let's just not, shall we? Instead, let's watch and see what's going on to Frosty Teeth right here. He's of course getting attacked by these assault ships from Tarnarmour and from Peter. They have found their way into the eco, trying to take out these assault rails right now. Probably be better to target the salvagers at the beginning. Well, they almost got the kill on that heavy railgun too, but it sort of backed away just at the right moment. Or at the wrong moment, that is. Oh no, probably they could have killed all these salvagers, but they were instead targeting these railguns instead, so it's really unfortunate right there. Meanwhile, SSSS, by virtue of the fact that he is mining but I am not, is going to be able to get more power reserves than I have. And all my railguns have died, by the way, you can see, just by the range on this Galzian carrier as well, so that's not going to work either as a response. It's very frustrating to play against this, especially as Galzian, you know? It doesn't work in 1v1s, I'd like to point out, because if we don't have to worry about like this side of the map at all, it's a lot easier to counterattack. I've never seen this actually work out in a 1v1 before. But in 3v3, it's very annoying, you know what I mean? But yeah. Tomcat now with 3 siege cruisers on the field. It looks like this top area is falling under the red team's control as well. And this game basically looks like it's over already. Alright, I think we can go across that way. We can go across that way too. Actually, this map is super easy to escape on, you know, like I can run all the way over here if I need to, but you know, we still had the idea that maybe we could potentially even win this game, so. Ah, that's what I was wondering. So, my carrier ends up picking a path down here across, but I really feel like this is passable. But for some reason, my carrier would keep insisting on going around back this way. I was very annoyed by this. Curious. Anyway, once again, these 3 sand skiers is kind of standing here, but like they can take all of this out. There's nothing to defend this. So I can see, you know, what we could have done better in this game, obviously, but. Tomcat just kind of doing his thing, having a lot of fun with it. Okay, here comes the counterattack finally, that we've all been waiting for. Yeah, I'm gonna have to run through SSSS's carrier right here, potentially take a lot of damage, so I was worried I was just gonna get taken out immediately right here. These salvagers getting so lucky, man. I'm gonna make it. Yeah, they all made it out. I can't believe it. Earn this. Carrier taking more and more damage. At this point I was telling Peter, like, charge up the missiles please, tell me you have power reserves, but he doesn't really, so Look at that, he's playing Homeworld right now, actually. Just the notification just showed up on the bottom left of my screen there. And miraculously, I am actually going to escape. Probably just due to the heavy railguns there. I guess SSSS was not particularly comfortable, you know, moving into those there. Also, his map vision must be like insane. I can't really see it right now, but there are like an unholy number of scanners on the map, and that's of course, you know, part of playing with this like base runner rush here. You know, you get lots of map vision as well. Finally, he's realized that he's being attacked in the back lines, beginning to make some sand skimmers to deal with this. And then I told Tarnarmour once again, like, hey, take 2 guys off of, like, I think I said RU so that I can get mining there, get power reserve 4. But Tarnarmour beginning to field quite a large army here. He's got 2 siege cruisers of his own, a bunch of heavy railguns. And actually, siege cruisers tend to be a very good counter to Con F siege, so long as you have something else to support it. And he does. He's got a bunch of railguns, right? And the reason that seems to be that the siege cruisers are able to use their indirect fire against the enemy siege as well at the same time. So as long as you have line of sight of them, you'll be doing damage when they can't really do any damage in return to you. And this is one very big, flat, open map, so railguns obviously are very, very effective on this map, especially up here on the plateau. So as a result, this is kind of like the optimal army to deal with what Tomcat has fielded against us. You're going to be a little annoyed, of course, as this missile barrage goes down, but it shouldn't really do any damage to us, really. But even so, unless we can take out both Tomcat and Frosty Teeth here, this game is probably over. Just because of this rush by SSSS, which we have still not really been able to find a very good counter to. Peter is going to fall for sure, like that's just not even a question. He doesn't have anything ready to deal with this. And so we need to get a lot of damage in real quick right here. Frosty's carrier taking some massive hits right here. And the 2 siege cruisers from Tarnarmour getting a little close to him, I would think, but he is going to go down. It's about time for these siege cruisers to back out of there, and they will. Looks like a siege cruiser also going to go down here for Tomcat, but something managed to do tons of damage to these units and kill them. I'm not totally sure what it was. Maybe just the combined siege there. But it does not look like Tomcat is going to fall. He is in a very secure position at the moment. As a result, this game is probably over. Like I said, we really needed to kill both of them. And this big wall of sand skimmers is going to come in here. This is the strength of Con F siege. This kind of stuff can't happen to them. Con F siege does not take any damage really from Strikecraft because of how much armor it has. And also it kills them like incredibly fast. So, but yeah, these sand skimmers is going to come in here, mop up all of these siege cruisers right here. Tarnarmour has, you know, decent power reserves, but not enough to stop this. SSSS going to be moving up on the side meanwhile. And we could run away and just kind of screw with people, but you know, we decided not to do this. It wouldn't really be very sportsmanlike, so. So we decided we would stay and fight. We'd make our last stand right here. Power Reserve 4 having just finished, I had the idea, well, maybe if all 3 of us go down there at the same time, we can possibly do something to him, but... Once again, I must apologize for the frame rate. Look how big this map is, by the way. Like, these guys can get all the way over here. Do whatever they want over there. And once again, we got the same kind of render distance thing here. You can see that like big white line on the edge. Anyhow, I think it's noticeable because normally we would be zoomed in more in game, but of course, for some reason, I think it's got to be the like enhanced zoom mod, but you know, we are looking very far out here. Of course, this is not normal to see things from this far away in this game. Most games look a little bit less impressive when viewed from further away. Seems DOK looks less impressive when, or no, sorry, I have this backwards. Most games look less impressive when viewed from closer up, but it seems DOK looks less impressive when viewed from further away, right? And actually this game looks amazing from close up. You know, if this Conf carrier was powered up all the way, that would make a big difference. Because you can imagine, like, you know how fast Conf carriers kill things. If they were just, like, spamming missiles at SSSS, maybe we could even, like, push him off this area. I mean, 3 carriers together would, with, like, full power reserves in them, that would be something really to deal with. See, I pushed out there seeing maybe I could, you know, do some damage to these kind of siege cruisers right here, but was not the case. We're going to get pushed back again. And this is really where it has to all end. We're pushed back into the last little corner right here. We no longer have the high ground advantage. There are railguns pushing in on us. SSSS carrier is showing us the meaning of acrobatics. This barrage is going to come down. Peter and I will get finished off by this one, Tarnarmour, the lone survivor of our team. And you can see Frosty Teeth still contributing in a big way, actually, to this attack right here. There goes I. There goes he. A crippling defeat. Turn on glass mode right here. Whoa! Right, well the game crashed there, but I mean, you know what was going on. So my friends, what have we learned from this? What have we learned about base runner rushes? First off, that they're really annoying, but I think really in order to counter it, first off you can just play coalition and it won't really be a problem for you, but you need to scout it early. You need to have a lot of counterplay. Because if you can take out his economy, which you definitely can if you attack in there, because he's not going to have anything back at home, you can just really shut him down. That was really a big thing I think that we were missing in these games. But yeah, railguns are not a counter. It's very interesting. Certainly I will have a bit more gameplay involving base runner rushes in the future, but for now enjoy this black screen, I guess, and I'll see you next time.